Welcome to another segment of Unleashing the Champion Within podcast with your host, Andrea Mason, the Global Voice.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Global Voice, Andrea Mason, another segment of my podcast, Unleashing the Champion Within. And I have with me my amazing guest, Miss Andi Andreson. How are you doing today, my dear?
Hey, I am totally happy and blessed to be here, and it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
Likewise, I'm always about rising, igniting, and staying in focus. So, Andi, on your journey, I would love for you to share with the audience how you and we working together, how you were able to have self-awareness and start the process of achieving personal freedom through the healing power and forgiveness. Share with us on that a little.
I think my process, as I thought about the question, began when I was very young. It started at age 14, and I didn't have self-awareness. I didn't understand why and how to forgive. But what I did have was an upbringing of God, of a spiritual background. And I knew communicating on a level of forgiveness, meaning you can't stay mad at someone for what they've done. So during that age, I encountered a very traumatic incident. And again, I didn't know how to forgive, but it had to be my Almighty, because my oppressor did apologize, whether it being authentic or just to get through the moment so I could keep quiet. I accepted it. And from there, I've lived a life of learning how to forgive. However, the incident is still very traumatic to this day because I don't always talk about it. And I realize the healing process, a lot of people says, hey, just forget about it and move on. Well, I'm 48 years old and I've done that for so many years. And I realized you don't just forget about it and move on. You have to stop to fix it. And my example of stopping to fix it, if you have a car that's broken down, you don't just move on and get another car. You take it to a mechanic, you get the diagnosis, and if it's fixable, you repair it. Some situations in life, when you understand that they're not repairable, then you move on. So the healing process for me, I believe, when I'm at a stage where I'm not too emotional, I can approach it to heal and understand either it could be repaired, which to me, the forgiveness is repairing because you repair yourself. So whether or not the situation is fixable, if I can't repair it, then I can move forward and at that point to something new. And that new would be without the individual in my life.
What would you say one of the takeaways when connected and that you are taking on the journey moving forward? Because you can accomplish so much. What would you say one of the takeaways?
The takeaways is having someone like you that cares enough to say, I'll hold your hand. You were an angel. You're an angel to me because during my situation, you said, hey, I'm here for you. No matter what, just call me. Every time you send me a message, I said, is this her signature on the email? Because it always says, remember, I'm here for you. I'm there for you. Call me when you need me. So to me, that's the biggest takeaway because you didn't ask too much about my inside life. You were more concerned about how I was feeling in the present. And that was the takeaway because you held my hand in that moment, not try to baby me through my healing. So that was a big takeaway for me.
And in light of our connection that is still that is present, I remember what it was like in that situation. Betrayed, hurt, whatever the definition of hurt that you have. You don't forget it.
Mm-hmm.
forgive to move forward. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the spotlight of Miss Andi, who has soared beyond her potential and is still on growth. And so
Yes.
I want to say how proud of you I am. I'm honored to
Thank
have
you.
you on Unleashing the Champion Within because you have that mentality. You have that momentum.
Thank
And
you.
when you chose to trust the identity and you keep running and keep on going. So, in light of that, I ask you, Miss Andi, what is the next goal, dream, accomplishment that you will on your journey?
Well, my next goal accomplishment, I'm stepping way outside of my box. As you know, Miss Andrea, I'm still living with my parents. And as you just encouraged me, I need to live in life and not just survive. And I have to say that I'm surviving. If you've ever read the book of Job or the story of Moses or Joseph, where his family members tried to take him out, he had to survive certain challenges in order to get to the point where God says, now it's time for you to live. And all of the things that I've written down since knowing you about my goals and accomplishments, in my last trial, God had me to understand that I need to do a place of transitional housing. Being a victim of family violence, I realized that there was nowhere for me to go to be protected, like a shelter, because one, I don't have kids, my age, and without a steady income, there was no intake for me. So it was like God just tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, there's a need here. There's a need for you to help women in your situation. Oh, and the other thing was the incident wasn't an attack from a spouse. It was a family member. So if it's not considered a spousal domestic violence, you're stuck out here with nowhere to go. A female with no kids, there's no Medicare, there's no medical assistance for you. So on this journey, I am seeking out, calling different shelters just to see how I can get involved and how it's ran. Because even though I have a passion to do it, you need to know the inside scoop before getting involved. So that's my next goal. That's the thing right now. And in wanting to help others, the first need is to help myself. So that's my goal and my hope.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as Andrea starts going from surviving to thriving, we will have her back on her next goal when she accomplishes that. Stay tuned.
Yes.
And for now, Miss Andi, I am so proud of you. I am so grateful for the connection, for it never goes away. And in the
Yes.
light of Walt Disney's Lilo and Stitch, Ohana means family. Family means no one gets forgotten or left behind. And I can resonate with
That's
that. Sometimes we see our, sometimes we see those who are on the other side of the incidents as being strangers or boyfriends or spouses. What do you do when it's in your own home? And that's what we're going to get into. We're going to heal, feel, go from survivor to thriver. So thank you for
Yes.
being here. We are walking, and
Thank
as you
you.
know, I'm walking right beside you every step of the way.
You
Tune
have.
in, and thank you for being an honorable guest on our podcast, Unleashing the Champion Within. Her information will be in the description notes below, and we'll have her back to see how she accomplishes this next goal. Thank you so much. Take care,
Thank you.
and be
You
well.
too.
Take care.
All right.